Okay everybody, thanks for stopping by. Today's video I'm going to throw on some new bash plates just on the front, so the intercooler and sump. The reason I have to do these two is because I managed to bend the sump bash plate. I'll flick you over to this video here. Once you've had a look at that, we'll come back and we'll have a look at these ones. Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to have a look at what happened to the Pajero. So, as I may or may have not mentioned in a previous video, and I think I have just touched on it, it wasn't a video on its own, I've managed to bend this front bash plate, and it was done here, just on a day out with the last pad jamboree. It was mud. I hate mud, and I try to avoid it at all costs.
Head monkey down. You should take the left side.
Oh, it's going to go through the middle there somewhere.
Look for the channel, mate.
Right, how left it is then, hang on.
They didn't take much to twist you around. Oh, yeah, that was a bit too far left. Yeah, hit it, keep going. It's moving. Yeah, well done.
I've done 2 bits of damage to the Pajero, and each time it's been mud. Now, I did have a new intercooler put on, and if you got one of this NT Pajero, I don't know where the intercoolers are on the others, but Gen 4 Pajero's intercooler is right down the bottom, right? So good bash plates are a necessity. I've got the Boost bash plates, always been happy with them. This hasn't changed because of this. Because that, I've always ended up with mud and stuff in the front of the Pajero, in the intercooler or whatever, so it needed to be replaced. It got replaced when I put the new turbo on, got the tune and all that sort of stuff done, right? But the front bash plate here, as you can see, has been bent, just been whacked and pushed back, and you can see this is actually bent here. So I've lost the bolts. I don't know whether we've still got. I'm pretty sure the bolt hole here is still good, but that just won't line up. You can see it's bent down there. So when it goes up, this is actually angling down here where it needs to be flush with that. So pretty easy to replace that front bash plate. And I'll just show you this side as well. So that's the hole there. I don't know whether I've lost the riv nut, whether I need to redo the riv nut. I don't know. I'll have to get up and have a look. But because I hadn't been forward driving, I just had this one held on with the front bolts. Going through some mud the other day. Obviously that next bash plate's hanging down like this, gone through some mud, heard some banging. Got under to have a look, thought I just picked up a stick. And there is my bash plate. Now this is, to be honest, the first time I've had a look at this since the incident. You can see I had to ratchet strap it up. And we've bent that lug there. I was actually thinking I was going to have to cut the lugs off and get some more welded on. It's actually the bash plate. Oh, thank God. Well, when I say thank God, that looks like it can be bashed back into place, that bolt I'm talking about, just to be able to buy new bash plates and put them in place. And that one looks like it might be able to be And that one also looks like it might be able to be bashed up to be straight, to just put another bash plate on. I had to get it up on these ramps, which we've got now, so I can undo this strap. I hope this doesn't spring too far forward, so we're going to put some feet in the way, just in case. I think it's going to spring down a little bit, but not too much. If it does, we'll get it on camera, won't we? We'll go viral. There we go. Alright, luckily I had this, luckily I had this bash strap, luckily I had this strap in the car. Because again, I've still got everything out of the Pajero, because I'm working on that bloody battery install at the back. So the majority of my tools and everything were out. And I was just lucky that I had this strap still in the car. Strap this back up because it was just banging down. I'm too old for this shit. I'm not as strong as I look, you know. Oh, shit. I need to be able to get the back of this bolt on both sides to undo those bolts. Surprisingly, it's bending reasonably easy. I thought I was going to have to get some sort of mechanical advantage on it. Look at me go. And I'm going to tell you, these tabs are straightening up too. So I might be really lucky and just be I'm going to go with I think it's RTS bash plates. Rhett, on that note, I think he's got a 10% discount on Pajero's stock at the moment, bash plates. And he looks like he does some really nice work. I was asking about this front bash plate, and a whole bunch of people recommended him. So I was going to have dealt with him, and then just hadn't got around to pulling the trigger. And had I done that, I wouldn't be in this situation. All right, so we can get to that bolt. One's a bit angled, but looks like we can get to it. I think we're going to be fine. Oh, there's rust on here. I don't think I've bent the cross member or anything like that. I won't know until I get another bash plate and try and line up with that bolt holes. When I do, that's when the big F and hammer will come out and we'll try realignment. I've always told myself, just don't do mud. I know people love driving through it, but I think nearly every time I've gone through mud, like significant mud, I'm not just talking driving down a trail or whatever, but significant mud where you've got to put the boot in to get through or whatever, I think, and I've done it so rarely that I think I can say 100% of the time I've ended up with some sort of damage.
Car's a bit dirty there, mate.
I still reckon that'd be interesting in the wet.
Gooey.
Whether it's just sort of, shitting the intercooler, minor damage, bending a bash plate like this, or doing a really good job and folding one back. I was really surprised at that though. I mean, look, it had the whole weight of the car driving on it coming down the hill. Into that hole. Once that's dug in, it's just folded it back. So I'm surprised though that I've been able to just bend it back. Just thought you might get a bit of a giggle out of the poor old Padge. So welcome back. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to open these up. We're going to just do a quick fitment, and I'll just give you a quick look at these. These are actually the Kaon branded bash plates. Now I was more than happy with the booze that I had on there. They've lasted me a long time, 5-6 years, something along those lines. They've been bashed, they've been smacked. I've got the full set, so all the way through the back. I just need to replace the two on the front.
Ooh.
That guts?
That's the floor. Try and drive that. You're probably going to fall back in, but see what happens.
Don't think I've got the clearance.
Nah, you're sitting on the running boards. What's that, sorry? If you give it a little bit more poke, you might pop over it. Just a little bit. Not hell for leather. Stop about there. Try from there. So close. Nah.
One more.
No dice.
Your front one's this high off the ground and your back one's the same.
Yeah.
You literally just sit on your belly.
That looked good, but.
Yeah.
A few people mentioned RHS. I think I called them RTS earlier in the video. And I had previously sent contact through Facebook, but just never followed it up. On looking at all the different brands, something specifically that I liked about the Kaons that I'll show you once we get them open, that was fairly unique to these, that I didn't see on the others. The RHS ones, he's got some beautiful, beautiful aluminium work there. I looked at those really, really hard. But again, it comes back to this one unique feature that I've seen on the Kaons that I haven't seen on the others. I may be mistaken, I may have missed something. This for me was worth going with the Kaons, and that's why I've chosen. Looks wise, they won't really blow my skirt up, certainly not like the RHS stuff. And this is literally how they arrive, just wrapped in plastic. Now carrying them out, I want to say that they're probably, I don't know, maybe a bit over 25 kilos for the two. It felt about the weight of a 25 kilo flour bag, so I'm going to say about 25 kilos. Okay, interesting. So there is a material wrap in here as well, in addition to the plastic. Well, I'm heading away to pick up a caravan in a couple of weeks. Now I'm sort of in the Newcastle area, New South Wales, and the caravan is up in Queensland. So it's going to be about a 10, 11 hour drive to where it is. Take you on the journey for that. Now I'm not going to tell you what the caravan is, but it also is a little bit unique. And if you follow the channel, you know that I like to be a little bit different. I hate, absolutely detest following the crowd, and I like to be unique and just that little bit different. So if I get the opportunity with my vehicles or my modifications, I like to do a little bit different. Don't get me wrong, there's heaps of these caravans out there, but it is a little bit unique, and I think you're going to love it as much as I am. When we get this new one, I tell you what, you're going to see a flood of videos on that product. New stuff, and I've got a few Pajero ones, obviously this one, and I've got to do the clock spring as well, so you may or may not see that before this video. And you may actually see the caravan before this video. So the sump panel, these are quite a bit lighter than the, I think these were the 3mm that I went with, and I'll put all the specs up on the screen, prices, links, all that sort of stuff down in the description. This is considerably lighter than the booze that's on there, the steel. I don't know whether it's the steel that's used, the thickness. I think I only went with the I can't remember whether I went with the 3s or the 4s either on the booze. So I just want to show you how these are going to mount. This is going to give you a bit of an example. You'll see a better example once we unwrap that front one. But can you see how these bolt holes are recessed? Can you see that here? So the head of the bolt is actually going to sit up in here, and it's not going to be exposed to the rocks and everything else. So I've actually lost bolts, snap bolts, had to drill one out, because with the booze, the bolts were sitting on top of the plate. So it'd come through and the bolt head would just be sitting on top of the plate. And this is the unique feature that made me go with these. Obviously I've got the Kaon rack in the back, I've been happy with that. Kaon's an Australian brand, happy to support those guys. The welds look good on the back of those, hopefully you can see those there. And we've got an opening here for your head of your jack as well. So we've got some destructions. So it's going to be a case of just undoing 8 bolts, putting the plates up, putting the bolts back in. It's a piece of cake. Anybody can do this. This is the front plate, which feels considerably heavier than that second plate. You can see here how those bolts are going to be recessed in behind the plate. You can see how they've put these brackets or supports, whatever you want to call it, on the back here. Even those ones here, you can see are recessed into the actual bash plate itself. Now, I wouldn't say that feature alone was what made me go with the Kaon bash plates, but it was what sold me in the end. So I am thinking about getting the table for the back of the Pajero as well. That looks like a nice unit. Or at the very least the little shelves that they make for when you put a table over the back. But I think once I get this caravan, all that sort of stuff that I've got in the back here is going to be a little bit redundant. But again, we'll talk about that later. I do have some slight concerns about the size of the openings in the front here as far as exposure of the intercooler, but we'll, you know, once we get it on, we'll figure it out. So we're going to just grab our supplied bolts, a nice addition, M8s. I think that one that I had to put a riv nut in is a 10. I'm not sure, I'll have to check that. Hopefully that bolt's still in there. I've got a feeling I might have to redo that. Well, got quite a few years out of it, and it might still be there, I don't know. But as you can see, it's raining, and it's been raining all day. I've just been wanting to get this done. But with this haircut, my hair's not going to get wet, so it does mean I'm going to have to lay down on the ground and just suck it up. And as you can see, or maybe here, it's chucking it down. Is what it is. Suck it up, Nancy. So as you can see, those bolts have all seen better days. They've been in there for a while. That one wasn't too bad. Obviously a new one I've stuck in. It really should be straightforward, but my ass is going to get wet. I'm just thinking about a tarp or something I can put down. Give me a minute. Okay, so I've just thrown a picnic blanket down. It's not going to last very long, but hopefully it'll be something. So my ass is wet already. So your front ones on the intercooler plate aren't going to have a washer. It's the back one here that I'm hoping is just going to bolt up, because as you've seen in the previous part of the video where I bent that last one. So fingers crossed this is going to line up, eh? Alright, I think we're going to be okay. These don't seem to overlap like the old ones, which means I think I need to bring you down here now. Lining it up with these tabs here, which is where the last ones went, sort of on this cross member here. If I line those back ones up, that actually mates up with this, I don't know what that is, some sort of a bar here, protection, I don't know what it is. But this bar that sits behind the intercooler. So the other bolts, so I'm going to have to undo these and use those to mount it by the look of it. Okay, so I'm correct, and they just refer to as a cross brace. They're an M10, so we need to undo those to put this sump guard on, and then you're just going to reuse those bolts, okay? And I don't know whether we're going to put that cross brace back on. Okay, so that brace can go back on by the look of it. So this is going to be a bit of fun, I suppose. We get the brace back up under that bash plate. Hope those bolts are long enough. And hold them up over our head and line them up. I really should have brought a headlamp down so I can see where that hole's lining up with. Make sure that plate's going to stay there and not come out and dong me. Are you having fun yet? So I don't mind that they're using these mounting holes from this cross brace, or whatever you want to call it, because it means the intercooler mount is going to have its own. It's not going to overlap like the Boo's used to, which is what got me into the trouble. That back one's done, piece of cake. So without the rain and reading the instructions, or without the rain and if you read the instructions, it'll be a much quicker process. So we've just got the 4 bolts, 2 at the back are going to have the washers on them. We've used 2 of the ones with the washers on the back of that one. Then reuse the M10s on the front. We've got the 2 M8s without the washers. They're going to go into those small holes at the front. So, might as well just lay out here in the wet, eh? Unfortunately, I'm a bit limited to where I can put you to show you the job. Pretty sure my rib nut has come out of here and it has. So I'm only going to have the 1 bolt on the front at the moment, so I can get another rib nut in there. I should just do it now, shouldn't I? I should do it now. We're done. We're wet, but we're done. Alright, let me sort myself out and I'll put you under. I think we did okay. I think the fronts are it's, right. For the most part we're pretty good. Because they use the different mounting points of the booze bash plates, where they use that cross brace, and we're not overlapping like we did on the booze, I would say this probably makes for an easier install. Look, for a set of these, I think it was sub $400, around 85 or something. I can't remember. I put it up on the screen because I looked at so many different ones. Here's the old booze intercooler plate. You can see how those wasn't actually mounting holes at the back. It used to slide over those bolts, and then the next plate back would go on top of that and hold it in place. So you're using the same mounting points for the rear of the intercooler plate and the front of the sump plate. I don't know about the amount of area. So the booze at the front, this area here, this is, I'm not super happy about this. How like there's a big gap here, like I can get my hand in there. I would like that to be bent up, fold up around here, for example. But you can see here you go, your recessed mounting points. Love that. The holes are big, I suppose, for airflow for the intercooler, but I don't know whether they're too big. I guess time will tell. That is a new intercooler back there too. And you can see that sump plate there. Okay, and you can't actually see that cross member now that we've mated those up. That intercooler plate actually covers that cross member, so but it does go back on with that sump plate. Happy to report it went on with the recovery shackle still on here. Just leave these on. They just stay there as a permanent addition, because if you've got a Pajero and you've seen that video that everybody shares, you can use your front tie down points as recovery points. So that's the new bash plates installed on the Pajero, which are the Kaon ones. Again, link and everything down in the description, etc. If you're chasing them, no affiliation, no referral, nothing like that. When I originally did the Kaon rack in the back of the Pajero, when they first come out, Kaon didn't have a huge name or anything like that. I reached out and said, look, I'm going to buy one. I'm buying it anyway. I'm going to do a YouTube video on it for the Pajero. Are you interested in offering me some sort of discount code for customers if I refer them to you? I'm buying it anyway, regardless of whether you do this. I just wanted something that I could offer my viewers a bit of a discount that might encourage them to go and spend some money with Kaon, and it was a good product and get you guys a discount. And they just flat out went, nah, maybe at a later date, whatever, we'll get back to you. It just never happened. Like the Light Force stuff, I like to promote or show my experience with Australian products. I don't like to say promote, because I don't like to do that. I'm happy to do my experience. You make up your own mind. But I like to show Aussie products if I can. Sorry about the weather. Sorry about the rain. But yeah, Kaon were just not interested. So very disappointed in them from that perspective. So that's it. I've got to pack this stuff up now. I've got the clock spring hidden around in the shed or inside somewhere that I've got to put on. Oh, I got some new tyres, Revello Ridge Tracks. I was looking at going with the Dynamax Pros again, but these were about 320 bucks a tyre versus about 480. I'm looking to change over to 17s in the not too distant future, I hope. So I didn't want to chuck top dollar tyres on. So I think Revello is a Chinese tyre. I don't know, but just got them on today. Keep you posted, see how they go. I went straight out in the wet. You can see what the weather is, and I drove, maybe a kilometre down the road and hammered the brakes, and the thing slid all over the place. So I'm assuming there's a release agent on the tyres like you get. So I'll put a few hundred Ks on them, and then we'll let you know how they go in the wet. And I'll do a review once I've had them on for a while. I'm taking the trip up to Queensland to get this caravan next week. So I'll report when I get back and let you know how they go. So on that note, thanks very much for stopping by. I'll catch you next time.